Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. And in this series, this will be our last video about email automation, wherein we're going to cover about a tool called as Saleshandy. It is one of those tools that has broken all boundaries and transformed the way email automation is done using AI. It has integrated AI in every single step of the process to ensure that whatever cold outreach is done, it's done quite accurately. So that is what we're going to cover today. We'll take you through the entire platform, show you how to use it, and where all can it help you in terms of automating your workflows. So first of all, when we come to the Sales Andy website, it offers a 7-day trial period. So we'll just quickly sign up for the trial and see the process. So I'm choosing my account and going forward. Once that is done, it's going to ask us a couple of questions that what are we going to use this for? Say I'm using it for business. I want to generate B2B leads. And yes, I have used tools like Sales Andy before. Moving on, it asks that what is the primary use for Sales Andy? So for us, it will be finding leads and cold outreach. And we got to know about them through our client recommendations. So this is how Sales Andy looks like as a platform. Very simple in terms of its UX. It has directly highlighted that, okay, these are the 4 steps you have to follow to simply get your sequence started. Now, prior to doing this, what is the most important thing that we need to do is we need to understand that any tool that is available in the market has its benefits, has certain features that are better than the competitors. For us as sales professionals to decide which tool to go for, it becomes very much important that we test it out. We see that, okay, what are the results that we are getting? Because features can be very much attractive, but unless and until you don't get the output, it doesn't make any sense. So let's see how Sales Andy works. How are their AI features working? The first step, if you can see, we'll just start with that. That is creating a AI sequence. Let's see how does that work. So yes, let's get started. So as you can see, it has opened a complete AI Copilot chatbot wherein it's asking me to add details about my business. So there are two things that we can do over here. We can either enter the website or we can add our business info. So let me just start by adding the website of my company. That's amesconsulting.in. And click on continue and see what does it do. So primarily what it does in the background while doing this is it extracts the data from our website and gives it in terms of what is the business that we are in, what are the key services that we are offering. And all of these details, as you can see, are mentioned over here. What I will do over here is I'll simply click on continue and see what are the next steps. Now it's again trying to derive insights and set clear objectives over here based on whatever content it has extracted. And after getting that validated by me, once this is done, we'll get to see that in the further steps, it's going to explain us that, okay, what is the call to action? What are the ICP? So if you can see over here, it has directly shown us what are the primary campaign goals that we are looking at. So in this case, we are looking at, say we want to book a demo as our call to action. So I'll select that and click on continue. Else is it further tries checking into what are the next steps, what are the more details does it require, and prompt us with a few questions to get more clarity. So you can see we have what is the primary industry we want to focus on, what is the preferred method for prospects to book a demo, which feature of your product or service should be highlighted during the call, and how long will the call. So this sort of helps him build upon some context regarding to what is the context of that particular email. Why are we sending that email? What will the call to action look like? And what is the end goal that we are looking at? And I'll just click on continue. So as you can see, it smartly broke down the entire context in actionable things. And if you can see the next part, that again, it is trying to understand better. The AI tries to understand better as to what is it that we exactly want to pitch in. Okay. So I'll select the two things, that's demand generation and LinkedIn management, and continue. So now if you can see, it has sent up the ICP for me that, okay, this seems to be your ideal customer persona. So yes, it does make sense. I can even add ICPs if I think that, okay, my ICP does not fit in what the AI has generated. So it gives me that option also to customize. So I'll just quickly select the ICPs that are relevant for me and click on continue. Now, the most important thing, we often have longer email sequences with 5, 6 follow-ups. It gives us an option and also recommends that what will be the most effective way of getting a reply. Because we understand this one thing, sending of multiple follow-ups seems like a spam to our prospect. So it's better to have shorter follow-ups. So say in this case, I'll go ahead with 3-step process, wherein I'll have say 1 intro email and 2 follow-up emails. So let's see how does this actually get created. So right now what the AI system is doing is it's creating a complete email sequence to pitch Ames Consulting Services. And what it is doing, if you can see over here, is it has created day-wise drafts. Now, what I can do at this point is I can review these drafts. I can see whether these seem good to go or not. And based on that, if I want to edit, I can edit it and I can click on add to sequence. Once I've added to sequence, it will show me a complete day 1, 3, 5. So day wise, it will tell me, okay, when will my first email get sent? When are the next emails going to get sent? Everything is quite extensively mentioned over here. One more thing, like after this step, what comes in is, if you can see over here, there's a sequence score it has offered, right? So the sequence score right now is low. The only reason being is that I have not connected my email account with Saleshandy. So what I can do over here is I can just click on the email accounts on the left panel and I can connect my email address. I can either choose whichever service provider I have. So in this case, I have say a Google service provider. So I'll select on my email and it gets connected to Saleshandy once I give the permissions that it requires. Now, once this is done, if you can see, there's a setup score that it gives. And I click to know more, I understand that in terms of my email domain health or email health itself, what are the things that are missing or what are the things that I can work on. So the common reasons why email healths are affected are either the SPF or DKIM or DMARC settings are not done right. It even helps us in terms of how to set it up. And so for now, I think I have a good email account health. So I'll just go back to the sequences and select on my draft sequence that we had. So if you can see over here again, now the sequence score has improved just by adding that particular email. So we have to simply follow the steps that they are guiding us with. That's the first thing that we do as a trial. But once we get a hang of it, it becomes very much important for us to modify it as per our use case. Now, say for example, you don't want to go ahead with AI-based emails. You have already created your drafts. You've put in the efforts to refine, fine-tune the exact email content that works out. So you can even do that. You can modify this, or you can simply add a step. Say you have certain follow-ups, case study-based follow-ups that you would want to add. So you can do all of that. Right here, if you can see, we have the email editor wherein we can type in our entire email. So just for an example, say if I want to add a customized tag over here or a variable. So what I can do, I can click on the merge tags or variable and add the first name or the company name, whatever customization I want to do. What it even offers is we can add pre-headers. Now this is text that shows below our subject line. In whenever we are say not opening the email, but we still get to view those small lines. That is a quick summary of what the mail is. So it gives us an option of adding that. This is something that other email automation tools don't offer at this point. So this is something as an added feature we get, wherein say if we want to simply capture the attention of our reader, then we can do it through a pre-header. Right. We can even send a test email to see how does the mail look like. It offers us a content guide that tells us how is your email looking. One of the most interesting features is the spamminess feature that gets us to understand whether the email is sounding spammy or not. At the same time, it tells us that what all can be an ideal or suggested subject length word count for a particular email. Now let's just not save this for now and we move on to the next step, that is adding of prospects. So here we can either import via CSV, that is add in our own data set, or we can search and add from their own database. So they have an entire different section. I'll show that to you quickly. So this is a prospect section and there is a finder section. Prospect is wherein we can upload our own data, and finder is wherein they have their own database search, which we can use. So if I just simply put in find Silicon Valley CEOs, so they have again integrated AI over here that I can just put in a prompt that this is the audience that I'm looking for, and it automatically inputs that particular filter and I get my output. That is how we can use their prospect finder to create a lead list and add on to our sequence. I'll just go back to the sequences. In this case, I just have the ones. So I'll just take these three that are the Saleshandy team's email ID. So I'll just add this to the sequence. And moving forward, I'll just go and see what are the settings. Over here, we have to first of all add our email account. So we already have added it. We have the option of adding multiple service provider emails and doing an ESP matching. What is ESP matching is, say for example, I have my email on Gmail and I create a similar email with the same domain on Microsoft and other providers as well. What Saleshandy smartly does is it identifies what is the inbox of the receiver, and based on that it sends email. So it will send from Gmail to Gmail, Outlook to Outlook. That is what it does over here. Then comes the safety checks, wherein do we want to track the email opens? Do we want to track the clicks? That is what we are able to do and select unselect over here, right? And next comes sending priority. So do we want to prioritize follow-ups? Do we want to prioritize sending emails to new prospects over that? Or do we want to have a balanced sending? That is what we get to see over here or select over here. Okay. So say for example, I want to go ahead with a balanced sending. Then email verification. So if I've added, say, my own data, but I've not verified those email IDs. So at this point, I can do that. I can click on verify now and I can get the emails verified. So I get to know that, okay, if I'm sending to 100 people, then are these 100 emails going to be delivered in their inboxes or not? So this gives me a much better tracking mechanism in place. I can even add people in CC. If I'm running a specific campaign and I want to add my team over there so that in case if I'm not able to respond, if a client or a prospect responds back, then they can. I have an unsubscribe link. So unsubscribe link is not mandatory, but it is something that is recommended. That if you have this in place, then you will be able to get a better deliverability. So that is how the settings are done. An additional feature that Saleshandy provides is we can create a subsequence. Now, what is a subsequence? A subsequence is when, say, for example, I want to send something customized. If a person is opening my mail twice, or if a person is clicking on a link in my mail, and I want to send something more specific, that is what I can do over here by setting up certain conditions. So we can see there is a set condition section where I can either put a condition like how many times the person has opened the email, if the person has replied, if the person has clicked on the particular link. So if I'm say putting email open count, if that is greater than 3, that means if a person has opened my emails thrice to see what it is, I can make a fair assumption over here that the person is coming back to my email for some reason. And for that to just quickly trigger a further conversation, I can click on save and I can go to the next step wherein I'll add that next step, that is I'll add a follow-up. So I'll add a follow-up sequence over here wherein I can simply mention something more customized, more personalized that can prompt that person to go towards my call to action, that is setting up a demo. So yeah, that is something. So I'm say for example, I've just written hi and I've saved it over here. Over here as well, I can generate an AI variant. So to give me a more better understanding that, okay, how do I do this? Because if you're new to subsequences, then it becomes important that you understand how it works first and then you modify it as per how you want it to go. Okay, so this is how it looks like. And I'll click on save. Finally, for the subsequence to work, you need to activate it. So on the top over here, you'll need to switch on or click on the activate button and activate the sequence. Let's go back to our sequence itself. Now that we have set up everything, what we need to do is just activate this particular sequence and it starts running. Then when we go to the final sequences section, as you can see over here, we have activated the sequence. It shows that there are 3 prospects in funnel right now. Once say emails are sent, it will bring them to the contacted section and we'll get all the stats that we need. So this is how Saleshandy as a tool works. There are many other features available on this particular tool and we would want you to explore what these are. Test it out for yourself how this particular tool works, whether it is giving you that outcome or not, so that you get an understanding in which tool do you want to invest. So this was about it of our email automation series. In terms of sales automation, we'll be creating a video next on how to automate WhatsApp messaging. So stay tuned for that and thank you so much for watching this video. If you did find value in this, please do like, subscribe and comment if you have any questions.